Welcome to Mighty Married Moms. Join us at our kitchen table twice a week as the Mighty Married Moms, Debbie, Linda, Wendy, invite spectacular guests to weigh in on staying sexy, vibrant, and healthy, building marriages with soul-satisfying connection, raising happy, healthy, successful kids. Conversations with Mighty Married Moms will bring you closer to the life you really want. Episode 125. Today's show is brought to you by Deborah C. Owen, Family and Life Coach at youcanraisegreatkids.com. If you are tired of worrying about the choices your kid is making, or tired of the stress of constantly arguing with your kids, or them arguing with each other, then don't wait until you are truly desperate. Get the help you and your family need and deserve today. Connect with your kids with calm compassion. Call Deborah Owen at 978-835-4354. Hey everyone, welcome back to Mighty Married Moms. I am Debbie Owen from youcanraisegreatkids.com.
Linda Tighe from allwellbreaksloose.com.
And Wendy Williams from connectagain.org.
And we are here every week to give you some great inspiration and some wonderful new perspectives to think about, and just great new information that we're excited to share with you. And we recently had a conversation with Rick Fiery, who is the co-founder and CEO of Inventive Labs in Amesbury, Massachusetts. And he and his co-founder have done an amazing job putting together a program that will really help young people in their late teens and kind of early to mid-20s in particular, although he said he has some older people too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But young people in particular who have some learning differences create a new kind of life for themselves based on being inventive.
A new sort of learning environment.
Yes.
It sounds like their experience, he really wants to bring along those young people who have been kind of beaten up by the system, like, stop twirling in the chair, Johnny. And this program is like, twirl all you want, because that's what's making your creative juices flow, or whatever it might be. So I guess kids on the spectrum, is that a fair?
Probably some.
I don't know. I didn't get that from it as much as that's where it started, was the vision of a kid who has ADHD or kids who are not well served. But as he said, they tend to be, if you look at people who are hugely successful, you'll find out they didn't go to college, or they flunked out, or they did these other things
the Bransons,
because they didn't learn the way everybody else does. But it sounds like it is a place for anybody to go who has an idea, a creative idea, and they're going to go or doesn't really know what they want to do, isn't really sure. You can go there, and they will help you figure out what are you passionate about, and then give you the tools to turn that into
a business,
which
is
or
awesome.
Find a place of work that would satisfy those desires that you want. And so it's just really
very
like nothing else, as he said, as they looked under the bed sheets, right? They didn't find anybody out there who was doing what they're doing. Yeah. So I think it's just amazing.
It's a great program. It's a great program.
And we're in Massachusetts. I think we should go visit.
Yeah, we should go visit for sure.
Yeah, we should.
But he said it's like when you go there, it's not like going to college, or it's not like a school. So you're not going to go and sit in classes all day.
It's open 24/7, right?
Yeah, so feel like you're going to work. You're going to go in there and then
get some work done.
Yeah, and they've got these very creative ways where they've got workshops and things and different things you can do and plug into, but you're really designing your own time, which is great. And if you're not designing it well, they will point that out, because there's a team of people you're working with. Okay, so you had a goal to do this week, you didn't get it done. That was because you were playing video games maybe for too long. So what do you think about that? And really, I don't know, I raised boys, right? And boys nowadays, the video games are huge for them.
Huge, yeah.
And there's not all bad. We want to think that they're terrible and they should be outside all the time, but the reality is it's their reality.
It's their reality.
Yeah. And I have to say, my boys are so technology savvy, and it may or may not be the video games, but I think they probably contribute to it. I don't even know how to turn my TV on anymore, really. I know. They walk by and say, Xbox on, or whatever, and then everything comes on, and they know how to switch it back and forth. And so it's kind of, it is their world. They love to do it. It's a way kids interact a lot now. There's a lot of positives to it, too. So it's definitely something that I have thought, it needs to be worked into education somehow
Absolutely.
too, because that's
gaming.
what they're
We've talked about gamification in education.
Yeah. It's an
Yeah.
amazing way of motivating humans.
Even more than motivating, I'd say inspiring.
Yeah, there you go. That's great.
Yeah. So it's inspiring that he's taken these things and put it in an environment where people can be who they are, figure out what they're passionate about, not be judged. It's no judgment zone. They're not judged by how they learn or what they want to do. It's just, okay, so if this is what you love and this is what you want to do, let's talk about giving you the skills and the tools to be able to get to where you want to go.
The way I remember the conversation too is when he talked about, that the team saying, listen, you said you were going to do these 3 things this week and you've only done 1 because you've been,
Playing video
games all the time. It's another video gamer saying, dude, step up, step into your role, you know what I mean? And so it's not coming from that, titular head, the teacher or the,
Right. It's not an adult.
Right. It's
supervising
right.
adult.
It's a team member going, this is probably why we're having a hard time doing group projects in school, or probably why we're having a hard time doing group projects at work. And not to say that we need to fit in 100% over there, but there's some parts of organization that probably make some sense if we want to move the ball forward. Yeah. But then there's other things that can be expanded and can be grown that fall outside of the way we do things in organizations and in school that will be wildly helpful to the world generally. And we were just talking about that with our last segment. Is like bloom where you're planted. Let's not go there again and sing Edelweiss. But anyway, bloom and grow. But yeah, so there was a theme in these last couple of conversations that we've had of really helping the person in front of you grow in the way that they're meant to grow, rather than kind of throwing all these externals on top of them or us that we're so used to.
Yeah. One of the other things that we talked about a little bit too is playing to your strengths instead of trying to compensate for your weaknesses. And I don't think we put it quite in those terms, but I think that's really a good way to do it. And there are so many people who talk about building up all of your weaknesses so that you're more well-rounded, right? And there's some value certainly in being able to do a little bit of a lot of different things, absolutely. But when it comes to what your passion is and what your job is eventually and what you study, whether you're in school or outside of school, delegate your weaknesses, the stuff that you either can't do or don't like to do. Let somebody else do it.
Yeah, he gave that Branson example of Branson's, what's his first name? Richard Branson, who owns Virgin Airlines and a million other things. He wouldn't know a spreadsheet from a bed sheet, I guess. And so he has no need to worry about it or care about it. He just completely delegates it to somebody who lives and breathes, accounting and numbers and things like that.
And then he can do what he's good at.
And when, I know not all of us can delegate things to other people, but the point being is, again, we all have gifts and abilities, and find the place where you're going to be swimming, where your gifts and abilities are absolutely at play.
Yeah.
And
I think
fight it.
Yeah, we all can delegate on some level. I remember there was some TV show a while back, The Nanny or something like that, right? And that one of the jobs was to go in with these moms who were overwhelmed and their kids were out of control, right? Teaching them to delegate. When kids were taking more responsibility at home, they were better behaved kids. They were more engaged. They were more connected. And so the whole thing was delegating rather than mom running around doing everything, feeling overwhelmed.
And feeling resentful.
How can you delegate at home? How can you delegate at work? How can you delegate if you run a business? That's the entrepreneur thing too, right? Most entrepreneurs don't make it because they just get overwhelmed. There's so many things,
pieces and parts to
take care of, and you're not good at all of them. You can't be good at all of them.
Possibly be good at all.
So it's difficult to decide which ones are there to delegate. But I think if we can delegate more at home and then figure out what we can delegate.
And I want to expand on that a little bit too, Linda, because there are studies that show actually that kids who do participate at home with chores and helping out actually are more highly functioning adults. And they just
big surprise.
Yeah, big surprise.
Yeah,
and we're right at the time where what's the case called? The affluenza boy or whatever.
Oh yeah.
There's a guy in the news that supposedly he's from wealthy parents in a southern state somewhere, and he has gotten into trouble with the law. killed people with his drunk driving, and somehow his parents are paying millions and millions of dollars to get the right lawyer to get him off and not hold him accountable to that. Can you imagine? And hiding him in a foreign country and doing all manner of things. And it's just the exact opposite of holding somebody accountable. When you said,
we need to teach our kids to take responsibility.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
and that's
in all things.
It's old school, right? I mean, back in the day, I wasn't around in this day, but the farm, Mom gets up, she's doing whatever she's doing. The 7-year-old is out collecting the chicken eggs. The father's out. Yeah, everybody participated.
And then they get breakfast.
And then they get breakfast. And they wouldn't have to go away to a school because they were counting chicken eggs and they were learning math.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, way back. They
back,
weren't necessarily going off to that was a privilege to go off to the schoolhouse or whatever, the schoolroom. But anyway, and we kind of moved away from that and kept it also parent-centric and let kids just kind of live. And
so some parents do a good job of teaching their kids to take responsibility, but I think there are enough families where kids could take more responsibility.
Right.
That would be a good thing.
And just to know, as you said, they're more higher functioning adults. To correlate the two together is important.
Yeah.
If you're not understanding it at that level as a parent, it's hard to then make that a practice at home if you don't see that.
Right. And my website is You Can Raise Great Kids, but honestly, I've said this before. We're raising young people to be adults.
Right.
That's our goal, is to raise them up into adults who are independent, self-sufficient, contributing members of society.
And Rick Fiery is taking people in the Inventive Labs and saying these are the people that are kind of like on the sidelines who want to be folded in and want and have something to contribute, but we're just not talking their language. We're not giving them the environment to bloom and grow. And so he and his colleagues are taking a great opportunity and finding a way to marry those two things, is finding those people for whom, they're a little bit left of center when it comes to learning and growing their own skill set. And he's finding a way to help cultivate that and grow that. So it's great work.
So let's wrap this up by pulling out a couple of takeaways, because not everybody's going to be able to send their child or come themselves to Amesbury, Massachusetts in order to be in Inventive Labs. If you can, I strongly recommend that you check them out online for sure. But if you can't, I think one of the takeaways is that even if you have a child, or if you yourself is someone who is differently abled in terms of their learning capabilities.
Learning differences.
Yeah, learning differences. Then do your very best to help that child find ways where their creativity can blossom.
Yeah.
And don't give them the idea that they have to fit in all the time.
Every place,
everywhere they go. Now, granted, they do need to be able to fit into some extent because this is a society and that's how we go. But if they're given the opportunity to find their strengths and cultivate those and nurture those, and if you as a parent can support your child in nurturing their strengths, that you will be amazed at what happens. I mean, honestly, that's one of the things that we made our share of mistakes growing up, but I think that's one thing that we did well with our kids was we helped them identify what their strengths and interests were, and we really nurtured those. And sure enough, our oldest son, who was interested in scuba diving, he's now in the Navy.
Yeah.
And our daughter, who loved being with kids, she's now probably going to be a nurse that has something to do with kids of some sort. And our youngest son, who got the benefit of the mistakes that we had made with the older children, and we didn't force him to take all the high-level classes because he just wanted to learn how to write music. And so he taught himself to write music by following YouTube videos, and he taught himself film and photography, and he's now at a prestigious university where he taught himself how to get in there, basically.
Yeah.
So, give your kids a chance to figure out what they love. Yeah. And if they don't love something when they're 15, it's totally fine. Let them just explore a whole bunch of things. They may not find out what they love until they're 20 or 25 or 30, and that's okay.
Or 50.
Or 50, yeah. Speaking from experience.
That's right. Nobody hears 50, but we'll look forward to that moment.
Yeah. But I think that's a big takeaway, is support your children in their explorations of what it is that they love.
Yeah. And Rick's putting some real legs on that.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for telling us about Inventive Labs,
Yeah.
Mr. Fiery. And it'll be in the show notes exactly how to find him
Yeah.
and explore more about what he's doing. And who knows, maybe he'll need one in Oklahoma. So
Yeah.
maybe you should contact her.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. Again, Mighty Married Moms, please find us on iTunes and leave us a rating and review, and tell all your family and friends. Please share these episodes with them, because that will help spread the message that we're giving you the tools and strategies and the new thought processes to create a life that you love, to choose what you're going to do with yourself. So thanks so much from Mighty Married Moms, and we'll see you next time.
Bye,
Have a great
everyone.
day.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Mighty Married Moms. Tune in twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays to meet fascinating and inspiring guests who will help you create the life you've always wanted.
You can find these episodes and special gifts just for you at mightymarriedmoms.com, as well as a link to our Facebook community,
where we continue the conversation around the kitchen table. Please also help share the love by leaving a review on iTunes. We'll see you next time.